The breaking point. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Pathfinder, watching as the gleaming spires of the Galactic Council station grew smaller in the distance. Her reflection stared back at her from the reinforced glass, dark eyes hardened by determination, jaw clenched tight enough to cause pain. The mission had failed. 5 months of careful negotiation, all for nothing. Commander. Lieutenant Zhao approached, his usual confidence replaced by uncertainty. The crew is asking what happened in there. Elena turned slowly, facing the reality she had to deliver to her team. The council rejected our proposal. All of it. The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's systems. Elena had led humanity's most important diplomatic mission in history, an attempt to secure Earth's independence within galactic space. The Council had initially seemed receptive, even impressed by human progress. Then, without warning, everything changed. "There's more," Elena continued, her voice steady despite the anger simmering beneath. "They've issued an ultimatum. Earth is to dismantle its deep space defense network, surrender all military vessels capable of interstellar travel, and accept protected status under Council governance." Zhao's eyes widened. "That's not protection. That's occupation." "Exactly." Elena moved to the command chair, activating the ship's secure communication system. "And we have 48 Earth days to comply, or they'll ensure compliance through alternative means." The bridge crew exchanged glances of shock and indignation. Humanity had worked too hard to reach the stars, had overcome too many challenges to surrender now. For 2 centuries since first contact, they had been treated as the galaxy's newest curiosity. Primitive, but potentially useful. Earth had advanced rapidly, integrating alien technologies while developing unique innovations of their own. Perhaps too rapidly for the Council's comfort. "Set course for Earth," Elena ordered. "Maximum speed. We need to warn the Unified Defense Command." As the Pathfinder accelerated toward Earth, Elena reviewed the recording of the final Council session. She had stood before the assembled representatives of 17 spacefaring species, the massive chamber designed to intimidate with its towering architecture and dramatic lighting. The Council speaker, an ancient Veldari with skin like polished obsidian, had delivered the verdict with unsettling calmness. "Humanity advances too quickly, without the temperance of experience," the speaker had declared. "Your species still harbors primitive aggressive instincts. For the safety of galactic civilization, humans must be guided." Elena had argued passionately, pointing to humanity's peaceful exploration initiatives, their contributions to interspecies medical research, their willingness to share Earth's unique biodiversity. But the decision had already been made. What troubled Elena most wasn't the ultimatum itself, but what she had glimpsed in the Council speaker's eyes. Not concern, but fear. 3 days later, Elena stood in the underground war room of the Unified Defense Command in Geneva. Military and political leaders from Earth's major nations filled the chamber, faces grave as they processed the situation. Admiral Takahashi, head of the UDC, paced before the holographic display showing the known positions of Council observation posts near Earth's solar system. "This isn't a negotiation gone wrong," he said, his voice carrying the weight of his 60 years of military service. "This is the prelude to an invasion. We can't possibly stand against their combined fleet." General Okafor objected. "The technology gap is not as wide as they want us to believe." Elena interrupted. All eyes turned to her. "During the negotiations, I had access to their technical archives. What I found suggests they've been deliberately misleading us about their capabilities." She activated her neural implant, projecting data onto the main display. "Council ships are powerful, yes, but their technology has stagnated. They haven't developed a new weapon system in over 300 years. They rely on numbers, not innovation. And they fear innovation," added Dr. Liang, Earth's foremost xenotechnology expert, "especially ours." Admiral Takahashi nodded slowly. "Commander Reyes, You've spent more time with the Council than anyone else from Earth. What do you suggest? Elena stepped forward, bringing up a galactic map. We strike first, but not with pure military force. We target their surveillance network. She highlighted dozens of small points surrounding Earth's solar system. These monitoring stations have been observing us for decades. They're our blind spot. We can't see beyond them, but they see everything we do. If we disable those stations, she continued, we create a dark zone around our system. It would give us time to mobilize without Council observation. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This would be humanity's first hostile action against the Galactic Council, a declaration that Earth would not submit. How do we know they won't respond with overwhelming force? President Chen asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the decision before them. Because they're afraid of us, Elena answered simply. Not our current capabilities, but our potential. They see something in humanity that terrifies them, our adaptability, our unpredictability. They wouldn't have issued an ultimatum if they were confident in military action. Admiral Takahashi studied the map. What's your proposal, Commander? Operation Thunderstrike. Elena said. A coordinated strike on their monitoring network using our stealth corvettes. Meanwhile, we activate Project Phoenix. Several people in the room shifted uncomfortably at the mention of Project Phoenix, humanity's most guarded technological secret. After hours of debate, the decision was made. Earth would not surrender. Operation Thunderstrike would launch within 24 hours. On the outskirts of the solar system, aboard the stealth corvette Silent Arrow, Elena prepared her mixed crew of military personnel and civilian technical specialists. 12 identical ships were positioned throughout the system, awaiting her command. Final checks complete, Commander, Zhao reported, now serving as her executive officer. All vessels report ready. Elena surveyed her crew, faces determined, some showing fear, but all committed. This mission isn't just about destroying monitoring stations, she told them. It's about sending a message. Humanity will not be controlled. We won't be limited. We choose our own destiny. She opened the fleet-wide channel. All ships, this is Commander Reyes. You know your targets. You know what's at stake. Our window of opportunity is narrow. We must disable all monitoring stations simultaneously before they can alert the Council. Elena took a deep breath. Humanity has always looked to the stars with hope and wonder. Today we fight to keep that hope alive. Operation Thunderstrike commences in 3, 2, 1. Execute. Across the solar system, 12 ships engage their engines simultaneously, accelerating toward their targets with precision that would have been impossible just a decade ago. Earth's newest stealth technology rendered them nearly invisible to conventional sensors, a breakthrough the Council didn't know humanity had achieved. As they approached the first monitoring station, a deceptively small structure bristling with advanced sensors, Elena felt an unexpected twinge of doubt. Was this the right course? Could this action lead to the very conflict they hoped to prevent? Too late for second thoughts. The monitoring station grew larger on their view screen, its defenses still inactive. They hadn't been detected. Weapons ready, Zhao reported quietly. Elena nodded. Fire. The Silent Arrow released a concentrated electromagnetic pulse, specially calibrated to overwhelm the station's systems without destroying it completely. Lights across the structure flickered and died. Similar reports came in from the other teams, success after success. But as they approached the final station in their sector, something changed. Alarm signals blared across the bridge. They've detected us. The sensor officer shouted. The station is activating some kind of emergency protocol. Elena leaned forward. Can they communicate with the Council? Uncertain, but they're powering up systems we didn't know they had. Elena made a split-second decision. All weapons, full power. Take it out completely. The Silent Arrow unleashed its arsenal, and the monitoring station erupted in a blindingly bright explosion that quickly died in the vacuum of space. Report from the fleet. Zhou said, his voice tense. All primary targets neutralized. 3 ships encountered similar emergency protocols and were forced to destroy their targets completely. Elena nodded grimly. Return to Earth at maximum speed. The Council will know something's happened when their stations go dark. We need to be ready for their response. As the silent arrow turned back toward Earth, Elena gazed out at the star-filled void. For the first time in 2 centuries, humanity had created a bubble of darkness around their solar system, a space where they could move unseen by the Council's watchful eyes. Now, she said quietly, we have breathing room, and they have something new to fear. Across the galaxy, in the Grand Council chamber, alarms were already sounding. The Velderi speakers stared in disbelief at the reports flooding in. All monitoring stations around the human system had gone dark simultaneously, an operation that should have been far beyond human capabilities. How is this possible? Demanded the Kilari representative, their tentacles writhing in agitation. The speaker had no answer. But deep within, a fear that had been merely theoretical was becoming terrifyingly real. Humanity was proving exactly why they needed to be controlled, and exactly why that might be impossible. The first move had been made. The response would determine the future of galactic relations, and perhaps the survival of the Council itself. Defiance rising. The emergency session of the Galactic Council stretched into its 4th hour. Representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations argued bitterly while the massive holographic display showed nothing but static where Earth's surveillance network had once been. The Chamber of Concord, usually a model of dignified deliberation, had descended into chaos. This is unprecedented, thundered the Mendari ambassador, his crystalline exoskeleton flashing with colors of rage. Humans have attacked Council property, a direct violation of galactic law. The Velderi speaker raised his ancient hands for silence. When order finally returned, his obsidian eyes swept across the chamber. Let us not forget that we issued an ultimatum that effectively threatened their sovereignty. Humans are reactive by nature. All the more reason they must be contained, hissed the Trillian representative, her scaled skin rippling. We should deploy the enforcement fleet immediately. From the shadows of the chamber's upper gallery, silent observers watched with growing concern. The archivists, the true power behind the Council, had studied humanity for centuries. They alone understood what the Council was truly facing. The humans have surprised us, whispered the elder archivist to her companions. They've eliminated our eyes without hesitation. Such decisiveness. Such barbarism, countered another. The elder shook her head. No, such survival instinct. They saw the threat and neutralized it completely. She tapped a slender finger against the datapad in her hand, and Project Phoenix is now active. Her companion stiffened. Project Phoenix, the humans' most guarded technological initiative, had been monitored from a distance, but never fully understood. Now, with the surveillance network destroyed, the archivists were blind to its progress. Perhaps, the elder said softly, we have made a grave miscalculation. In the heart of Earth's Marianas Deep Station, Commander Elena Reyes watched as Project Phoenix entered its final phase. The massive underground facility hummed with energy as thousands of engineers and scientists worked around the clock. What had been theoretical was rapidly becoming reality. Admiral Takahashi stood beside her, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the central core. How much longer? 24 hours, Elena replied. Ahead of schedule. They were standing before humanity's greatest achievement, a propulsion system unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. While Council ships relied on conventional warp technology, constrained by the rigid laws of established physics, Project Phoenix explored the spaces between dimensions, drawing power from the quantum foam itself. The Council fleet has been mobilized, Takahashi noted grimly. Our deep space sensors detect at least 30 warships entering the outer system. Elena nodded. As expected, they're moving cautiously. They don't know what we've done or what we're capable of. And they don't know about the rest of Thunderstrike, Takahashi added with the faintest smile. Operation Thunderstrike hadn't just been about destroying monitoring stations. While the Council's attention was fixed on their blinded surveillance network, humanity had deployed its own monitoring system. Microscopic drones that had attached themselves to Council ships during the confusion. For the first time, humans could see the Council's movements while remaining hidden themselves. Alina turned to Dr. Liang, who was directing the final calibrations. Status. The scientist looked up, exhaustion and exhilaration battling in her eyes. We're ready to install the prototype in the first vessel. If it works. When it works, Alina corrected gently. Liang nodded. When it works, we'll have achieved what the Council has deemed impossible, true interdimensional transit. We'll be able to appear anywhere in the galaxy without traversing the space between. And that, Takahashi said quietly, is exactly what they fear most. Council Commander Revex stood on the bridge of the flagship Immutable Law, leading the advance into the human system. As one of the few Council officers with actual combat experience, he had been chosen for this delicate mission: secure the humans' compliance without triggering full-scale war. Any response to our hails? He asked his communications officer. None, Commander. They're maintaining complete silence. Revex studied the tactical display showing Earth's defenses. The humans had positioned their modest fleet in a defensive formation around their planet. Brave but futile. His 30 warships could overwhelm them in minutes. And yet, Revex hesitated. Something about this situation felt wrong. The humans had shown surprising capability in destroying the monitoring network. What else might they be capable of? New contact, shouted his sensor officer suddenly. Unidentified vessel, appearing directly off our port side. It just appeared, sir. No warp signature, no approach vector. Revex spun to the view screen. A sleek vessel of unfamiliar design hovered less than a kilometer away, close enough to be a direct challenge, but not threatening weapons range. Scan it, he ordered. Sir, scan show. This can't be right. The energy readings are off the scale, but unfocused. It's not charging weapons, but the power source is unlike anything in our database. A communication request flashed on the screen. After a moment's hesitation, Revex accepted. Commander Alina Rice's face appeared on the screen. Council vessel, this is the Earth ship Phoenix. Your presence in our system constitutes an act of aggression. Revex maintained his composure. Human, your destruction of Council property was an act of war. Return to your planet and prepare to receive our terms of surrender. Alina's expression didn't change. I'm afraid that won't be possible. Instead, I offer you this demonstration. Before Revex could respond, the human ship simply vanished. Sensors showed no warp signature, no energy trail, nothing to indicate how or where it had gone. Find that ship, Revex barked. Sir, the sensor officer's voice trembled. It's everywhere. We're detecting identical energy signatures at multiple points throughout the system. They're surrounding our entire fleet. Impossible. No civilization had mastered simultaneous multi-point projection. The technology was theoretical at best, requiring energy sources beyond current understanding. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, in the brief period since destroying the monitoring network, humans had deployed technology that rendered Council tactical superiority meaningless. Alina's face reappeared on the screen. As you can see, Commander, we could strike at any point in your formation. But we don't want war. We want recognition of our sovereignty, our right to self-determination, and our place among the stars. Not as subjects, but as equals. While Commander Reyes kept the Council fleet distracted with the Phoenix, Alina herself was executing the most dangerous part of Operation Thunderstrike. Using the prototype interdimensional drive, she had transported aboard the Council's central administrative station, the true heart of galactic governance. The neural camouflage technology she wore rendered her nearly invisible to the station's security systems. Moving through the labyrinthine corridors, Alina made her way to the archival chamber, where the Council kept its most guarded secrets. Her mission: discover why the Council truly feared humanity. The ultimatum, the surveillance, the threat of force, all seemed disproportionate to Earth's actual threat level. There had to be something more. The archival chamber doors loomed before her, protected by security measures meant to detect any unauthorized presence. Alina activated the specialized bypass system developed from technology gleaned during her diplomatic mission. The doors slid open silently. Inside, data pillars stretched toward the ceiling, each containing millennia of knowledge. Alina knew exactly what she was looking for: the restricted Cynobiological archives, specifically the Human Studies section. As she accessed the data, images and text flooded her neural implant. What she found confirmed her suspicions and revealed something far more startling. The Council hadn't been monitoring Earth out of casual interest or security concerns. They had been studying humanity like a potential pandemic. Human adaptability exceeds all predictive models, one report stated. Genetic malleability combined with technological innovation creates unprecedented evolutionary potential. If unrestricted, human advancement could reach Class V transcendence within 8 generations. Alina's breath caught. Class V transcendence, the theoretical state where biological intelligence merged perfectly with technology, allowing for effectively unlimited expansion of consciousness and capability. According to Council records, no species had ever progressed beyond Class II. Another file caught her attention: comparative analysis between human innovation rates and other species. The graph was unmistakable. While other civilizations followed predictable, gradual curves of advancement, human progress shot upward at an exponential rate. "So that's it," Alina whispered. "They're not afraid of what we are. They're afraid of what we're becoming." A soft voice spoke from behind her. "And what might that be, Commander Reyes?" Alina spun to find herself facing the elder archivist, a frail-looking being whose eyes betrayed ancient intelligence. "You're not surprised to see me," Alina noted, tensing for conflict. "On the contrary, your presence here confirms our assessments." The elder moved closer, seemingly unafraid. "You've broken through our most advanced security as if it were a child's puzzle, created propulsion technology we deemed theoretical, neutralized our surveillance network with perfect coordination. Then you understand why your ultimatum is unacceptable," Alina replied. "Humanity won't be controlled." The elder studied her for a long moment. "What you found in these archives, does it anger you?" "No," Alina answered truthfully. "It clarifies things. You've been afraid of us since first contact. Everything. The limited technology sharing, the restricted access to galactic markets, the isolation protocols. It was all to slow us down. To protect galactic stability," the elder corrected. "Your species evolves at a rate that disrupts the order we've maintained for millennia. You don't just adapt to new environments. You transform them. You don't just adopt new technologies. You reimagine them entirely." Alina stepped forward. "And that terrifies you?" "It concerns us," the elder acknowledged. "No species should advance beyond the natural order." "Who decides what's natural?" Alina challenged. "Look at your own data. Your civilizations have plateaued, content with what you have, afraid to push boundaries. That's not stability, it's stagnation." The elder's expression remained impassive, but something shifted in her ancient eyes. "What does humanity want, Commander?" "What we've always wanted. The freedom to chart our own course, equal standing in galactic affairs, fair access to resources and knowledge." Alina paused. "And in return, we offer what humanity does best: innovation, adaptation, new perspectives. And if we refuse?" Alina gestured to the archives surrounding them. "Your own projections show you can't stop our advancement, only delay it, possibly at the cost of a devastating war. Is that worth maintaining your control?" For several moments, the elder was silent, her gaze distant, as if consulting some internal wisdom. Finally, she spoke. "Perhaps There is another way. The Council has existed for 12,000 years because it adapts when necessary. Perhaps this is such a time. 3 days later, Commander Elena Reyes stood once more before the full Galactic Council. This time, however, she did not come as a supplicant, but as an equal, representing a power that had proven it could not be ignored or controlled. The council chamber had been reconfigured, where once the human delegation had stood on a lower level, looking up at the council members. Now all seats were arranged in a perfect circle. The symbolism was not lost on anyone present. The Veldari speaker addressed the assembled representatives. We are here to ratify the Earth Accords, a new framework for human integration into galactic society. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many council species were still uncomfortable with the rapid shift in policy, but the demonstration of human capabilities had left little choice. A war would be catastrophic for all involved. Under these accords, the speaker continued, Earth will maintain full sovereignty and control over its military assets. Humanity will gain unrestricted access to galactic trade routes and knowledge exchanges. In return, Earth will share its innovation methodologies and establish joint research initiatives with Council species. Elena stepped forward. Earth accepts these terms, with one addition. She paused, making eye contact with representatives around the chamber. The Council will dismantle all remaining surveillance systems targeting Earth and acknowledge humanity's right to develop its own technological path without interference. Tension rippled through the chamber. This final demand struck at the heart of Council control, the right to monitor, and, if necessary, intervene in species development. The speaker looked to the elder archivist, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. We accept this condition, the speaker declared. As the formal proceedings continued, Elena reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From the brink of subjugation to recognized independence in less than 2 weeks, a transformation unprecedented in Council history. The elder archivist approached her quietly during a recess. You have changed the course of galactic history, Commander Reyes. Elena nodded. For the better, I hope. That remains to be seen, the elder replied. But I will tell you what few outside the archivists know. Every great leap in galactic civilization has come not from stability, but from disruption, from species who refuse to accept limitations. She fixed Elena with her ancient gaze. Humanity may well be the next great disruptor, and despite my concerns, I find myself curious to see what you will become. As Elena prepared to return to Earth with news of their victory, she knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through force of arms, but by demonstrating what had always been their greatest strength, the refusal to accept imposed boundaries, the drive to transcend limitations, and the courage to face the unknown not with fear, but with determination and hope. The negotiations had failed, but in that failure, humanity had found something far more valuable than compromise. They had found respect. And throughout the vast Galactic Council, for the first time in millennia, they had instilled something that would ensure humanity's future among the stars, not just fear, but wonder.